1 year ago, the SEC's top athletes punched their tickets to a national indoor championship that never came.
Nobody really knew what was going on. Nobody knew when you would be able to compete again.
We're all very excited about the season. We're in New Mexico the day before the meet got canceled. I think that was the hardest part.
It was like, wow, this is actually over.
Once we were able to compete, it was go time.
We all came back and we just got to live.
Got to bring your A game or else you'll be left behind.
I'm going to use every single opportunity that I have to better myself, to elevate myself, to go to the highest level I can possibly go to. One more step closer.
It's going to be a good weekend.
Ready today, though, the SEC's best are back on track here in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. The SEC holding its championship here at the Tyson Indoor Track Center for the 10th time. Fastest track in the world. Listen, it's on the facade of the building. It's got to be true, right? We are safe and we are distant, but along with the athletes, we are at least all under one roof. John Anderson along with Dwight Stones and Dan O'Brien. And so we're in Arkansas, and largely the team championship will be about Arkansas and the Razorbacks. But the rest of this conference, it's not just a bunch of lurkers. Dwight, what we've got here is top-flight teams and top-flight talent.
As always in the SEC, the toughest conference in the country, and so dominant are they that on both the men's and women's side, they have 5 of the top 10 spots in the country, and we do expect Arkansas to be not only the host, but also to dominate in this weekend. The athletes here, some of them freshmen, didn't even have a high school season last year, and many athletes did not get a chance to compete anywhere. So they are hungry, they are ready, and Arkansas is bringing it all, Dan.
Well, what a fitting place to come off of COVID and go to a championship. Arkansas, this is the Fenway Park of track and field, and they've got new Mondo flooring from wall to wall. This place is faster than ever. They've had 7 track meets here already this year, and it's produced 12 of the world's top times.
So the athletes were tested before they left their campuses. They were tested when they got here. They are masked, they are safe, and they can worry strictly about competition. And this is how the competition shakes out as we try to add up those points and get that team championship. 17 events. The first 8 places are all conference. They are the ones that score. 10, 8, and 6, first, second, and third. Those are the big points that can make a big difference when it comes to that trophy. And the first event of the meet is actually 5 events, the women's pentathlon.
5 events in less than 4 hours, John, and the first event, the 60-meter hurdles.
Highly anticipated matchup here between Tyra Gittens on the far right in the gray uniform, Anna Hall from Georgia. They both had great meets a couple of weeks ago. This is one of Tyra Gittens' best events. She's over on a first attempt, 6'2". This is Anna Hall in the high jump. One of her best events as well. State champion coming from the state of Colorado in the high jump. And she hits a personal best today, over 189.
That's great jumping for pentathlon. A personal best for Anna Hall as we go along to the shot put.
Petros Kipriano, who coaches Anna Hall, says she's really gotten stronger in the weight room. Tyra Gittens is also a good shot putter. She's over 41 feet. Not the best technique, but as long as it gets over the line, get those points any way you can. Anna Hall holds par with Tyra Gittens there, but this is where this highly anticipated rivalry kind of went downhill, Dwight. Both athletes were on the top of their game in the first 3 events, and then they get over to the 4th event, the long jump, and everybody who jumped in this direction had season lows. Anna Hall only out to 18.4. She's a 20-foot long jumper, but Tyra Gittens had it even worse on her attempts.
Going into this event, there was only 3 points separating these 2 athletes.
Tyra Gittens, an outstanding long jumper. She's been over 21 feet a couple of different times, but she just couldn't find the board. 13.6 just takes her completely out of the competition.
From 1st to 6th with that 3rd attempt long jump, just needed a mark, and no one has figured out what was wrong and what was going on that runway. So you see Anna Hall with a big first 3 event total, 134 points ahead of Ghana Edwards, and Tyra Gittens slipping 400 points off pace.
Yeah, Dwight, so that 3-point margin went to 399 because of the long jump, and then we get to the 800 meters. Now, like everybody, you can't have, Anna Hall's got parents, and that's her dad. They can't have fans in the, it doesn't matter if you're a parent, you can't have fans in the stands here at the Randall Tyson Track Center. So dad's outside peeking through the window. Came from Colorado, just wants to see his girl, get a glimpse of her, get a glance, checking the flash results, checking the live stream, and then just every once in a while you got to put your nose up against the glass and just get a glimpse of your kid and see what she's doing. And what he got today was great stuff from his daughter Anna Hall as she goes to the line in the final event, Dwight.
The 800, and Anna Hall is a dominant 800 runner. The only time she was behind was before the gun went off.
Well, she's run 2:07.91 as a personal best, and this is, you know, when you're a multi-eventer like Tyra Gittens, this is the last place you want to be, is going to the line even close to Anna Hall's ability. Only one other American in the heptathlon or the pentathlon and the women's multi-events has ever run faster than Anna Hall, and that's Erica Bogard, and she's a pro and made multiple world championships and Olympic teams. So Anna Hall holding par with some of the best heptathletes in the world in this particular event.
This is how good Anna Hall is and was. High school national record holder, winner of the Pan Am Under 20 title, 9th at the U20 World Championships, and then 2nd at this meet last year as a freshman. Of course, that was the last time they were able to compete collegiately. We were all in New Mexico waiting for the national championships when we got the word that the NCAA had canceled the season.
And Dwight, with that cancellation, I looked at Anna Hall last year as somebody who might not be able to make a Tokyo Olympic team. I put her 4 years down the road and said she's going to be a factor in 2024. But with that extra year, I think she will be a factor. She'll go to the Olympic trials this year, and she'll battle for that second and that third position to go to Tokyo.
It'll be valuable experience. Of course, those 2024 games now just 3 years away. And Anna Hall, you can see how dominant she is over this field in the 800. She needed to run a personal best to get the collegiate record, but only a sophomore. It certainly appears to be in her sights in not too long, as she has at least a 30-meter lead over second place.
One of the biggest adjustments she had to make when she came to college was she wanted to stay strong in the 800 meters and train a lot in that half mile, but Petros, her coach, said, no, we got to work on the sprints and we got to work on the jumps. Everything's starting to come together for her, and she still continues to be dominant in her best in one of her favorite events.
For so many multi-eventers, they really dislike that middle distance event that concludes every multi-event competition. She has great depth there, and she can only get better. She runs just under a 2:11, a very solid time, but not close enough for a personal best or a national record. And we will finally see Tyra Gittens. What a disappointing performance for her because of that long jump. They were just 3 points separated going into that event. This would have been a great competition had they both been able to have their normal days, and we still haven't figured out what happened with that long jump.
Well, we're looking forward to that matchup in 2 weeks at the NCAA indoors.
So you can see 426 points over second place was Anna Hall. Sterling Lester of Florida getting second. Connor Edwards of Arkansas third. And Tyra Gittens holds up 4-6. She gets 3 points. And we had a chance to talk to the champion right after the competition concluded.
It's a pretty good score for a not so good day. I started off really strong and then kind of had a big oops in the long jump. So I'm really happy that I was able to put up a pretty big score with some bad events. So I'm excited to see what I can do when I put it all together.
Let's talk about the good events. We had some breakthroughs. The high jump was terrific.
Yes, yeah, high jump was really exciting. I've been really close to that 189 bar the past few times, so to finally get it, I was really excited. And Petro saw me in warm-ups, and he was like, if you don't PR today, it's a shame because you look really good. So I had to pull it out.
All right, well, that was the pentathlon, a personal best in the high jump. 2 weeks from now, the NCAA championships. Who knows what Anna Hall might be ready for when we return here to Arkansas in 2 weeks.
We're back and glad that you are with us here at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships, Randall Tyson Track Center, Fayetteville, Arkansas, getting ready to wrap up the heptathlon. 2 days and 7 events. We got 1,000 meters to go. We'll let Dwight and Dan tell you how we got there.
7 events over 2 days, and we start out with the 60-meter dash. Johannes Erm, the senior from Georgia and Estonia, without question, the favorite coming in.
Well, they had not only the 2019, but the 2020 SEC champion closest to us. That's Kyle Garland with the headband there. But Erm definitely the favorite coming in. He's one of those guys in the outdoor season. You look him to be an NCAA champion, 8,300 points. But as we move over to the long jump, this is Erm on his first attempt. He's a good long jumper. 24.9 on his first attempt. This is his teammate Kyle Garland. Two SEC champs going head-to-head. Garland, Philly native, one of those young decathletes that have been spotted over the years. Somebody who I think is going to benefit from another year of training as well. But this is Erm on his second attempt. Ooh, and he just runs through. He was slow getting up out of the pit, needed help as a matter of fact, went straight to the hospital from this competition. They're wrapping up the indoor season, trying to get him ready for outdoors. So one of the favorites is out. As we move to the shot put, this is Kyle Garland. He's a very strong sprinter, and he's also a very strong thrower. Love the color, love the different color socks there, Dwight. Boom, so a big shot put for Garland. That's a third attempt, over 50 feet, an outstanding shot put in any conditions. And then we move over to the high jump. Believe it or not, Dwight, this guy can high jump 6'11" as well. He was the last man standing. This is his second attempt at 6'11". Boom, and he's over. And that was a personal best. Excuse me, that tied a personal best for him. He had a personal best in the shot put, ties a personal best in the high jump. And that's it for day one. Here we are in day two. Garland looking to keep things rolling there on the outside in the red headband. Big, strong guy, moves really well. Reminds me of Milt Campbell a little bit. Milt Campbell had outstanding multi-event in the early 1950s, but Garland now is rolling as we move over to the pole vault. One personal best in the shot put, tied a personal best in the high jump, and his area that he needed to work on was the pole vault. Here, a personal best, third attempt at 15.7 for 834 points. And your standings after 6 events going into the final event, the 1,000 meters. Garland has a 138-point lead over the hog, Marcus Belangi. And Belangi, that Liberty transfer from 2 years ago, didn't get a chance to compete last year, but everybody's excited to see what he can do here at Arkansas at home. But there's your leader, Kyle Garland.
Arkansas occupying second, fourth, and fifth position going into this 1,000. So they're looking to score a lot of points with the dropping of Erm, who was really rather hurt, and they're hoping to get him back for the outdoor season. It's a big blow to Georgia in this multi-event competition where they're always so strong and so deep.
Well, the school record at Georgia is 61-77, and Kyle Garland would need to run 2:46 for 803 points to break that record held by Devin Williams. Marcus Belangi has a chance to catch Garland, but he would need to beat him by more than 10 seconds. He's run 2:44. Garland has run, excuse me, Garland would need 2:34. Garland has run 2:46. Belangi 2:44 for his personal best. So in the 1,000 meters, Kyle Garland in the red headband, he just needs to keep Marcus Belangi with the long flowing locks there within eye shot. He can't get beat by more than 10 seconds.
And you got to be so careful about your pace here, because 10 seconds doesn't seem like something that you can't handle, but all of a sudden you start to tie up, you got a lap to go, and things just aren't working like they should. That can be a problem.
There you see Belangi on the outside in the Razorback red there, now into second position, trying to make a little bit of move. He's going for it, and I like this.
Peyton Davis of Tennessee leading in this 1,000.
Ziggy Zoller in 3rd position. Out front of his teammate Garland. He's probably told Garland, he said, look, I'm going to be up front. Just stay with me. A lot of teamwork goes on here. And here you see Belangi's teammate. That's Edamar Bastakar. He's had a good meet.
2 laps remaining.
He's trying to spur Belangi on now. Ooh, Kyle Garland looks tired.
Yeah, he's starting to dog it. Belangi really trying to work with Peyton Davis as much as he can. Gap is widening a little bit each straightaway, but he's still hanging in there.
Bastakar goes around Belangi. 1 lap to go, 2:09. Here we go, boys.
Well, it's definitely not 10 seconds at this point. It's probably more like 3.
Belangi's got to make a move now if he has any hope of beating Kyle Garland, but a good run for Davis up front. Bastakar in 2nd position, Belangi behind him, and here comes the rest of the group.
Daniel Spexler of Arkansas also crossing early. Certainly not 10 seconds difference between Garland and Belangi.
2:41 for the leader, Peyton Davis. Spazier from Arkansas, 2:45. That was Spazier, not Bastakar, up front. Edmondson from Auburn comes up from behind. Bastakar then goes 2:46. Let's see where Belangi finished. And this just, it's moments like this, Dwight, that I'm glad I'm no longer a multi-event athlete. This part of the race is just absolute misery. These guys have been on their feet for 2 long days. They just got done pole vaulting. They got to run 1,000 indoors. They're big, strong guys, and this is certainly not their forte. There you see Belangi come to a finish, and about a 4-second difference, 3 or 4 second difference between Marcus Belangi and Kyle Garland.
Well, we'll be able to get the separation right in a few minutes. We'll get back to John.
Kyle Garland, I know it's hard when you're 22 seconds after the competition to assess your performance, but tell us what you thought of your 2 days out here.
Man, I couldn't even really think. It was just all by the grace of God that I was able to come out and do what I was able to do today. And yesterday, I mean, I'm kind of speechless. I mean, a month and a half ago, I tore my hamstring, and I basically wanted to tell myself I can't do this anymore. But it wasn't even me. It was just by the grace of God that I'm able to be here today and put up a massive score over 6,000 points.
So you've got months and months of inactivity because of the pandemic, and we've torn our hamstring. Like, how'd you get through it all?
You know, I just kind of told myself that this is bigger than me. This is beyond me. Yesterday, my teammate Johannes Erm went down in the long jump, and after that event, I told him that I had to do this for him.
Kyle Garland, congratulations. And Dwight, just so you know, he's truly a multi-guy. He also plays the violin, the drums, the piano, and the guitar. Like, he's a multi-guy.
Congratulations on a great performance, especially coming back from that adversity. So the multi-events in the book. Kyle Garland scoring over 6,000 points for the first time ever.
Great track and field here in Arkansas. I want to remind you of college basketball coming your way Wednesday. Doubleheader kicks off with number 24, Missouri, taking on Florida. That is followed by Mississippi State and Gig'em. Texas A&M Aggies. Coverage starts 6:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network. And, of course, it's always streaming on the ESPN app. Go right to the longest event on the program. Dwight, 5,000 meters.
What an exciting race this was. A huge field. There maximum allowable of 24. Lots of juggling in the beginning. It turned into an Arkansas affair until Corey Bullock, the freshman from Ole Miss, decided to take over. And we thought, okay, they'll certainly suck him back into the Arkansas Razorback group, but it was not to be. Corey Bullock pulls off what many would consider a huge upset, winning the 5,000. But Dan O'Brien, Arkansas still scored with 5 of their 6 athletes.
Well, Arkansas looked to score big in this event, and they got 26 points out of it. Boyd, McLeod, Murphy, Young, and Cheb Mosen all do their job. Big points for the Razorbacks.
10 big points there for Ole Miss. Arkansas in that race came through with 27, and that's part of the reason. After 7 events, they have a 23-point lead over Alabama, LSU, who will challenge for the runner-up position. Take a look at the men's mile out on the track for this one. The collegiate record just happened. It happened in this building, a smoking 3:50.39 from Cooper Tier. There are great athletes in this event here in this conference. And perhaps that man right there, I'll be honest, he's my favorite kid in this competition. Waleed Suleiman from Ole Miss. Parents left Darfur when he was a youngster, 8 years in Jordan in a refugee camp, moved to Richmond, Virginia. Now he's in Oxford, Mississippi. He's truly an American story, and just this past fall, now an American citizen.
I came to the U.S. in 2014, and and then I just basically had to go through the process as every single person who's become a legal resident of the United States. And you have to wait for 5 years and take the test and all that kind of stuff, and then you get your citizenship from there. The ceremony itself is the exact same thing. Everybody's just lined up by name, and then they call your name one by one. You go around, you take your citizenship certificate, you go back and you sit down. I've came a long way, all the way across the world to here, have the opportunity to compete in the United States, so I can just be the best. I'm trying to just go out there and win everything I could possibly do.
Well, there's a good look at Waleed Suleiman, and believe it or not, this guy, he's run the fastest time in the mile in this conference. He led 3 other Ole Miss Rebs to an under 4-minute mile just a couple weeks ago, but he really made some mistakes last year at this meet, only finishing 4th. He let the pace go way too slow, left all the kickers in the end, a chance to give him a chance. And there's Eamon Kemboy. He's one of the only other guys outside of the running Rebs who have run under 4 flat this season. The transfer from Campbell has been a very useful and productive runner for Arkansas.
Arkansas with 2 potential point scorers in this 10-person mile race. Kemboy, along with his teammate Andrew Cabet, the sophomore. Kemboy, a senior. He'll stay in these 2 packs through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole on the finishing straight. 8 laps of this 200-meter oval here at the Randall Tyson Track Center. Just refurbished, a $40 million refurbish of this facility and the adjoining facility that accommodates the throws. And John Bishop of Texas A&M taking the early lead. Everett Smolders of Ole Miss is there. Waleed Suleiman back in the middle of the pack. Now he's moving it up to his teammate. Ole Miss 2nd and 3rd. Bishop well out in front. Probably a 10-meter lead as we come up to the 400-meter mark. Roughly 60.4 for Bishop.
62.4 for Suleiman. Kemboy right behind him at 62, and Smolders 63. A really honest pace here. They're just outside a 4-minute mile pace. Somebody to keep in mind there in the gold and purple in the 6th position, David Bowe from LSU. He's run 3:57 this season.
Well, it was a jog and sprint affair last year. The winning time just under 4:15. The meet record is just 3:59.4. Sub-4-minute miles in this conference championships are rare due to the tactical nature of the event. So Bishop Suleiman, Kemboy, Smulders.
Well, Kemboy is coming back in the 3,000 meters as well as a few other guys in this race, but I think we learned last year the guys that tried to go out a little bit slower, tried to save their kick for the end, just so that they were going to be, just so that they could double later that day. That strategy doesn't work. The pace has got to be honest here as you see Bowe move up on the outside.
It's Davis Bowe of LSU in the gold and purple, causing a little congestion there. Bishop continuing to lead as he has from the beginning. Suleiman now coming up on his right shoulder. Things slowing down a little bit. Suleiman and Kemboy running a little extra distance just to stay out of trouble as Bishop has slowed the pace down a little bit. Now Suleiman into the lead, coming to the 3/4 mark, about 3:02.6. So a sprint here will certainly bring it under 40 minutes, and that may be what it is. It is Suleiman who has now shifted gears, and Kemboy covers the move. But they've separated themselves now from the rest of the pack by about 7 or 8 meters. Smulders now third, Bowe fourth as Bishop fades to fifth. Coming up to the bell, it is Suleiman. Kemboy marking him. You may see a meet record. It might take that for the winner to win.
Well, Suleiman gritted his teeth there. It looks like he's in a little bit of pain, but I think he still has another gear.
This is Kemboy's home track. He knows every inch of it. Suleiman, Kemboy. It's going to be down to the final sprint. Suleiman takes a look back. That's not usually a look of confidence, but Suleiman shifts again, and he will win it, and he will set a meet record as they both go under 4 minutes. Unofficially 3:58.28 now. 3:58.56 for Kemboy. Smulders finishing third, just missing going under 4 minutes. Davis Bowe finishing fourth, and Suleiman, a smart race for him. He had to dig down deep, but he had it.
Well, with about 150 meters to go, Suleiman definitely looks like he's in some pain, but he did the right thing here. And everybody on that backstretch gets the benefit of looking up at the big screen. He knew exactly where Kemboy was going to be. So when Kemboy made the move, all Suleiman had to do was just push a little bit harder. Just too much separation to come back for. Kemboy's more of a longer distance guy. He doesn't quite have that 800 meter, 400 meter sprint finish like some other world-class 1500 meter mile guys will. Suleiman wins in 2019, takes a year off, comes back and wins in 2021.
And this time he gets a meet record for his trouble. Waleed Suleiman finally winning in under 4 minutes, and John Anderson, an outstanding performance by the Ole Miss Rebel.
Waleed Suleiman, congratulations. You just took the oldest record in the SEC record book out. 44 years that mark has stood. Take me through the race, what you maybe learned from last year's that you applied to this year.
I started out saying that last year wasn't really my year. I just had a lot of trouble, like behind the curtains. But I mean, this race was something else. I did not think it was gonna go out that fast. I mean, like, I'm glad that Van was like making us work out, do good workouts to be able to run that kind of race. Sorry, I can't really speak right now. I'm tired.
We'll let you go then. But you know what? I want to see a guy run 3:58 and look like it meant something. Look like it ties you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Congratulations, hotty toddy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Waleed Suleiman across the line first in the mile. It's the only non-metric event in the meet. Ole Miss, 10 more.
We're back in Fayetteville for more of the SEC championships. Weight thrown in the building next to us, Dan.
Well, newly refurbished facility, but this guy absolutely dominated today. A senior from Florida, Thomas Mardall, this was his 4th attempt throw. He blasts that thing out to 79 feet, 2 3/4 inches. Our second place finisher in the men's weight throw, Bobby Colantonio from Alabama, just a junior. Nice step up from 2 years ago, finishing 7th place. This was his 4th round throw, 73.6. Our 3rd place finisher in the weight throw, another young man from Norway, John Nerdahl, senior at LSU. On his 6th attempt, he goes out 71.11 3/4. But nobody, I'm telling you, nobody touched Thomas Mardall today. All of his throws were over 78.4 1/2. He finishes with 79.3 1/4. Meet PR. 5th all-time on the collegiate list, guys. Fantastic dominance.
So as we get ready for the men's 60, here are the team standings after 8 of the 17 events. Arkansas now in the lead by 23 points. Ole Miss trailing LSU in 3rd, Alabama with 34 in 4th. Next event on the track, the men's 60-meter dash. Collegiate record holder Christian Coleman, the world champion. Leonard Scott, still holder of the championship record.
There's Lance Lang from Kentucky. He had a nice qualifying run yesterday, but he was 2nd last year in this open 60.
Now this is just the 60 meters without hurdles. Lang in lane 2, he'll be 2nd from the right. Christopher Grant right next to him from Auburn in lane 3, also from Jamaica.
He was 3rd at last year's indoor championships, and he'll be next to another Auburn Tiger who was the fastest qualifier yesterday, Dante Brown, 6:62 in his qualifying round.
So this could very well be a blanket finish for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Right in the middle of the track. All lanes being used today. Lane 1 was open all day yesterday, and 8 often as well. There's how they will line up. 2 Arkansas point score potential in this 60-meter dash final.
Yeboah from Texas A&M in lane 1, lots of experience. He's competed for Ghana at multiple championships. Hari for Arkansas on the outside. He had a good qualifying run yesterday as well.
Hari from Denmark, 4-time Danish champion, 2nd from the left. But the fastest runners from the prelims in the middle of the track. Lang, Grant, Brown. They run right to left here at the Randall Tyson Track Center. 1 on the bottom, 8 on the top. Good start by Lang, terrible start by Brown, but a super start by Dante Brown. I got the 2 Auburn guys mixed up. Dante Brown, 6:67. And it was not a blanket finish. They were well separated. Auburn goes 1-2. Brown and Grant, 18 points for Auburn in the men's 60.
Well, in the orange bottoms, fourth from the right, Dante Brown gets a fantastic start, but what wins him this race is that transition from his drive phase into his upright running. Watch him stay down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He stays down for a good 10 strides, comes up and just runs away from this field. There were some good starts on the outside there as well. Hari looked like he got a good start, but Dante Brown absolutely runs away from this field.
It was Grant with the poor start, but he did a nice job to recover and get 2nd. So a 1-2 sweep for Auburn. Arkansas gets 3rd place and 6th place points, so a good haul for them. And Auburn 1-2 in the 60-meter dash. Yesterday they had the men's high jump. Javon Harrison has been dominating. This is Dontavius Hill from Auburn, came in at 6'11 3/4, and with a slight brush on the way down, he was successful in doing so. Just 8th at this meet last 2 years. But this is Javon Harrison, the outstanding high jumper, long jumper, twice already the champion in the high jump. This is his jump at 7'2½", tons of room to spare, and because he didn't need to do so, he did not try any higher. This is Dontavius Hill, who passed after 2 misses at 7'2½ to 7'3 3/4. A pretty decent attempt. Certainly good enough to think that that's a bar he can clear in the future, but unsuccessful. He ends up 2nd place. Javon Harrison wins his 3rd title in a row with 7'2½ this time. Hill 2nd, Alan Gordon of Ole Miss finishing 3rd. Next event on the track, the two-section final of the men's 400 meters. Michael Norman setting that world record as a collegiate record as well in 2018. And in this building, Karani James, the 2012 Olympic champion, has the championship record at 44.80.
There's Elijah Godwin from Georgia. He'll be the fastest qualifier in this heat. 46.03 in the qualifying. Talked to his coach this morning, Althea Thomas, and she said he's the kind of guy who needs to get out fast. He doesn't have a real even race. He goes out really hard in the beginning and just tries to hold on. There's Noah Williams. He'll be on the inside. Not a great lane draw for him. Lane 4. He ran 46.23 yesterday. Multiple MAC champion while he was at Akron.
Elijah Godwin out there by himself in lane 6. Lane 5 on this track is the preferred lane for these 400 and 200 meter races because it's just not quite as uphill, but a good downhill when you come in the finishing stretch. But the advantage for Godwin is that because he gets out quickly, he doesn't need to see anybody in his vision, and his goal would be to not see anybody until after the finish line. The winners and other places are determined on time. 8 finalists, 8 scorers. They got here by qualifying by time. James Milholland of Arkansas down there in lane 3, then Noah Williams in 4, Leander Forbes of Alabama in 5, and Elijah Godwin of Georgia on the outside in lane 6. And Godwin digging hard right from the beginning, and Noah Williams making up the stagger on Leander Forbes in the first 50 meters. Williams doing a good job navigating that tighter lane 4. Now they battle for the pole, and it's no battle. Godwin has it. 21.08 at the 200. Now, can he hold on?
Noah Williams looks nice and easy on this back straight. If he wants to pass him, he might want to try to do it before the turn here.
Godwin starting to tie up a little bit. We saw the same thing in the prelims. Now Noah Williams has got a slingshot off that turn. Godwin really tying up. Williams wins the heat, establishes the time to beat at 45.26 now official for Noah Williams. And he really used Godwin almost as a rabbit.
Well, Noah Williams ran that entire second lap clear out there in lane 2. He certainly had to run farther. Couldn't pass him on the back straight. Had to wait till the home straight, but Godwin used all of his energy in that first 320 meters. But Noah Williams with a nice measured run. And you're right, Dwight, he absolutely did use Godwin as a rabbit there. Just stayed off that right shoulder. He ran a little bit farther, but he was comfortable, but outstanding times in section 1.
45.26, the number 3 time amongst the collegians this year, and establishes quite the goal to shoot for the section 2 400 meter runners. So this is Bryce Dedman of Texas A&M, finally a senior, and he talks about his thoughts 1 year ago when they were getting ready for the national championship meet.
We went out to eat the night before the day everything got shut down, and I think like it was the Jazz game that was on TV, and like I remember the referees ran out on the court and like stopped the whole game. I was like, there's no way that if they shut down the entire NBA, we're gonna have this track meet tomorrow. We went to the track the next day and we're kind of like doing like a run through of a warm up, just kind of like getting loose and stuff before the meet. And I just remember Coach Henry like slammed his phone shut and he was like, all right, wrap it up, we're going home. When everything kind of started to settle in, it was like, wow, this is actually over.
And we were right there with you at the venue, but no competition to be had. He is the defending 400 meter champion from this meet last year. running out of lane 6.
Well, there were a lot of dejected people at that track that day, just getting in a little bit of practice, but Dedmon looked fantastic yesterday, and we got to talking about the 400 today, and somebody said there's going to be some really quick times because everybody took it easy yesterday. I didn't think they took it easy yesterday, but already in the first heat, we've seen faster times. Here's Dwight St. Hilaire. He looked fantastic yesterday, made his qualifying run look super easy.
The other Dwight in the building. Champion Allison will start in that terrible lane 3 for the 400. Worse for the 200, of course. Dwight St. Hilaire of Kentucky in lane 4. Ryan Willey of Florida, who had a nice run, the freshman, yesterday in the heats. And then Bryce Dedmon, the veteran, on the outside in lane 6. Dedmon could definitely play the rabbit role for Hilaire and Willey, both who ran very strong yesterday. And they are as even as they could be through the first 100. Hilaire really working it hard for that pole, and he gets it. 45.26. Remember, the time to beat 21.06. That's a couple of clicks faster than the first heat, the first section. Dwight St. Hilaire leading it. Now Dedmon coming back, showing that strength. Having to go a little wide on the turn, running the extra distance. Hilaire now hurting, having gone for that pole. It's going to be very close at the finish. Hilaire, I don't know that he held him off. I think Ryan Willey might have caught him at the tape. Yes, 45.66 for Willey, which is not fast enough to beat Noah Williams from Section 1. So Williams will be your 400-meter champion in the SEC. And Dwight St. Hilaire, really, how much energy do you save by letting up like that?
Well, 21.06, Dwight Hilaire ran that first 200 so hard. Everybody in this group was out of energy except for Willey in the last 75 meters. But that is an absolute picture of fatigue. And the freshman comes in and steals the heat. Had a chance to talk to Mike Holloway earlier today. He said he was very pleased the way his freshman competed yesterday. But heat 1, you get your winner.
First and second out of heat 1, and the champion is downstairs with John.
All right, Noah Williams, tell us, what's it like to win the 400 in the SEC as opposed to the MAC?
Man, it feels great. You know, my first few years running in the MAC, it was good competition for me. They was pushing me, but I looked for something more. And I knew if you want to be the best, you got to come to the best conference, and that's the SEC. So this is the most that I pushed myself, and I got a job done. So, you know, there's nothing more to say than that.
What's it like to sit in that chair and watch that second heat?
Man, my heart was just booming the whole time. I mean, I was excited, a little nervous, but I knew that I did the work that I had to. I gave it my all, and whether I had won or lost, I would have been satisfied because I gave it everything I had on the track. So there's nothing more I can ask for.
And there's nothing more, you can't place any higher than first. You're at the top of the podium. Noah Williams, congratulations.
Right. Appreciate it, sir. Take care.
All right, congratulations, Noah Williams. An outstanding run by the LSU Tiger. Back with more. The 60-meter hurdles on next.
You're watching the 2021 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Want to tell you about some SEC women's basketball coming up. They got the conference tournament right around the corner. First round coverage tips off Wednesday, 4 Eastern, right here on the SEC Network. Don't forget, every game of the SEC tournament streams live on the ESPN app. Dan O'Brien, the DMR is one of the favorites of the distance coaches. It's their Super Bowl.
Well, it really is. The DMR is something everybody looks forward to for the conference meet. And a team not named Ole Miss or Wisconsin has won this thing in the last 10 years. Waleed Suleiman, who competes in the men's mile, he got the Rebels out to an early lead, and it was Garcia Romo who brought him home. He really created the distance on that last 1600 leg. But the big news is, look at the kid in second place. He's just a freshman from Bama. He brought them all the way back from 10th position. He ran a 3:51 for second place. But you get the shark fin, you got the home run swing by Ole Miss, and they come away with another distance medley relay championship and a new meet record.
So here are the men's team standings after 11 of the 17 events, and you can see that Arkansas running it away with it like we thought they would. A 30-point lead over LSU. Ole Miss just a half point in front of Alabama and Auburn. Auburn getting 18 points in the men's 60 as we get ready now for the men's 60-meter hurdles. Collegiate record holder and championship record holder is Grant Holloway. He is also now the world record holder. He ran 7:29 this last week in Madrid, Spain. 8 finalists, starting with Damian Thomas, the 21-year-old Jamaican senior of LSU. We've watched his progress over the last several years, becoming really a dominant hurdler in this conference.
Well, fastest time in the conference, 7:66. Qualified yesterday, 7:68. Looked well in control. To his right will be his teammate, Eric Edwards. But this man right here, just a youngster, Lemonius, a sophomore from Arkansas. He had a fantastic second half of the race to win his heat, 7:68. Big personal best for him, so keep an eye on him. He'll be to the left of Thomas.
Arkansas and LSU with 2 athletes in here to score in the 60-meter hurdles. The action in the middle of the track. Thomas of LSU in 5. Lemonius of Arkansas right next to him on his left in 4. 2 Jamaicans going at it here in the SEC. Thomas was 3rd at this meet 1 year ago. And Edwards with a great reaction to the gun. Eric Edwards out there for LSU, but here comes Thomas. It's Thomas, Edwards. It's a 1-2 sweep for LSU in the hurdles. Incredible start by Eric Edwards. 7.60 for Thomas.
Well, that certainly was the start that Eric Edwards Jr. wanted. Eric Edwards Jr. on the far left in the yellow uni. He gets a fantastic start, but Damian Thomas did exactly what you're supposed to do when you get a bad start. Be patient. Just run your race. Just get quicker in between. Look how far back Damian Thomas was to start that race. Edwards Jr. did a great job, but Thomas with just a more power, a little bit quicker hurdling over those last 2 barriers for a 1-2 finish. The Tigers love it. Fastest 2 guys in the conference all season long. Don't let us down.
And they sweep it 7:60 and 7:67, but then Arkansas right there with 3rd and 4th with Gilbert and Lemonius. That 7:60, second fastest time amongst collegians in 2021 for Thomas. Right on track 2 weeks from the NCAA championships. Well, they did some long jumping as well yesterday, right after the high jump. And Javon Harrison, who had already won the high jump for the 3rd time, comes down the runway for his first attempt in the long jump. Incredible height off the board and an amazing 27 feet 4 inch new championship record for the high jumper, long jumper from LSU. He was 4th at this meet last year. This is Kerry McLeod from Tennessee. This is his final attempt. He's the defending champion. Transferred from Emporia State, and on his 6th attempt, he goes over 27 feet 3/4 of an inch, a lifetime best for McLeod, but it only gets him 2nd. Ryan Brown down at 26.7 3/4 for 3rd. Matt Bowling, the sprinter, got 5th with 26.5 3/4. They were long jumping yesterday amongst the men. Next event on the track, the men's 800-meter final. Paul Ehring of Virginia, the collegiate record holder. He was the Olympic champion way back in Seoul in 1988. And Donovan Brazier, who is tearing it up now as a pro when he was at A&M for a cup of coffee, set the championship record. Kieran Taylor of Arkansas, more Arkansas finalists. They have way more than anybody else in the men's side.
I was going to say, there's a young man with a mustache. Kieran Taylor, he looked really comfortable in his qualifying round, like he just sped around in 4th gear and had 1 more gear to spend. John Rivera from Ole Miss on the outside, he chose to lead his qualifying race literally from start to finish. Looked like he labored a little bit down the stretch, but real solid personal best this year, 1:48.50, and an easy qualifying for him.
8 athletes in this final, all potential scorers, providing they don't get disqualified or for some reason don't finish. Arkansas with just 1 entry in this 800 meters. There's John Rivera of Ole Miss, 4th at this meet last year. Also represents Puerto Rico internationally. 5 in the group on the start-finish line. On the outside, they will stay in those groups through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole on the finishing stretch. Vasky Anderson of Mississippi State pushing it down on the inside. You can see him in the dark gray of Mississippi State. Very tall athlete. Jostling there right at the pole. John Rivera taking up the lead just as he did in his heat yesterday. Brandon Miller of Texas A&M, the freshman, drops in for 2nd. Navasky Anderson is 3rd. And from Tennessee, that's Alex Kay, another tall athlete in the orange shorts.
He was a heat winner yesterday. Looked real solid in his race as well.
54 for the first 400. That is certainly comfortable for this group. Anderson now limping badly. Whether he's stepped on, we don't know, but he's really having a tough time.
Here comes Baylor Franklin from Ole Miss, moves up to 3rd position.
There's a lot of energy being expended getting up there. The 2 teammates up there from Ole Miss.
And when they go shoulder to shoulder, they're going to be tough to pass here.
Rivera and Franklin. And Brandon Miller trying to make a race that's not Ole Miss sweep. Brandon Miller now going around Rivera. Rivera, remember, he's led from the front. It's going to be Brandon Miller of A&M going to win it. Rivera going to hang on for 2nd. Kieran Taylor got 4th for Arkansas. And diving across the line like he almost did in the qualifying, he came up right at the end. Grady Shiflett of Alabama ended up 3rd, but it's Brandon Miller, the freshman Aggie, running smart that last half lap.
Well, I got a chance to ask Pat Henry, what is it about the 800 meters and the 400 meters that is so special at Texas A&M? And he says you got to build the team of your core of your team from somewhere. I love the middle distances. We always look for those half milers. We'll certainly see a thing Mo a little bit later, but that is just really smart running from Brandon Miller. I think it was a little bit more tactical than anybody would have really liked, but they just didn't go out very hard in the first lap. Nice job by the only freshman in the field.
Miller, the only one under 150, but that's off the slow first pace. They win it. 10 points for the Aggies and the freshman. Back at the Randall Tyson Track Center on the campus of the University of Arkansas. Pole vault earlier. Matthew Peer, the defending champion from the University of Kentucky, currently 7th in the NCAA, has a solid mark to get into the championship meet in 2 weeks. And he was flawless throughout the competition. This is his first attempt clearance at 17.9 3/4. Easy clearance for Peer, a senior from Kentucky. Wins his 2nd title, but this is the man of the event. James Corson, the junior from Auburn, 2nd attempt at 17.9 3/4. He set 4 lifetime bests in the competition today and put himself right in the mix for the NCAA championships in 2 weeks. He was outside the qualifier by about 4 or 5 inches. Needed a jump like that to make it. Peer wins it on misses over James Corson. Ryan Leip of Alabama gets 3rd place points for the Crimson Tide. So here are the updated team standings with the pole vault included. Arkansas now breaks the century mark, a 23-point lead over LSU, who is solidly in 2nd over Alabama, Ole Miss, and Auburn. Time now for the 2-section final in the 200 meters. Elijah Hall of Houston, the collegiate record holder from 3 seasons ago. Jareem Richards set the meet record 4 years ago. 4 athletes in each section of this 200. We start section 1. Joseph Van Boule of Florida, the 19-year-old sophomore. You wouldn't want to get in his way running a 200.
Well, he false started out of the 60-meter. He had a nice 200-meter run yesterday. Big fella manages his 200-meter track very well, and there's Lance Lang on the outside.
Saw him earlier in the 60-meter dash.
Second last year in the 60. Trying to run more 200 meters this year.
So one lap of this oval all in lanes. The preferred lane on this track, lane number 5. That's where Joseph Fahnbulleh is. You get the benefit of a good downhill, but not quite as much uphill as in lane 6.
And somebody on your outside to chase down.
From the inside, Camel of LSU, Miller of South Carolina, then Fahnbulleh of Florida, Lang of Kentucky. Lang, the early leader. Now they go uphill. Now Fahnbulleh making up that stagger. Fahnbulleh, the sophomore, now charging towards the finish line, establishing the time to beat 20:30. Let's see if it corrects up. 20:32 officially for Fahnbulleh. Number 10 all-time NCAA mark for Fahnbulleh in the men's 200.
Well, it took Joseph Fahnbulleh a little bit of time to really get going, almost 100 meters into the race, but man, he comes off this turn and has all the momentum. I think he even shocks himself on how fast he ran there. 20:32, lifetime best. And a huge improvement on his run yesterday.
And you'll know some of the names ahead of him: Walter Dix, Xavier Carter, John Capel, Sean Crawford, many of them Olympians. He wins it, establishes the time to beat Lance Lang. Not a terrible run for second in 20:79. So now they get to wait to see what might happen in this section of the 200 meters. And there is the man of the hour, Matthew Bowling of Georgia. He has that preferred lane 5, and he ran very well yesterday in his preliminary heat. Just a sophomore now at Georgia. 5th in the long jump yesterday with 26.5 3/4. Along with that blistering 200-meter heat. Outside of him, Terrence Laird, the senior from LSU, the defending champion.
Bowling 20:37 yesterday. A very nice run. This young man, though, it's just such a down-to-earth kid, so grounded. He just doesn't let the hype of social media really get to him. Millions of people have viewed his races on YouTube, but he's just a really down-to-earth guy, and his dad continues to tell him, look, you're only a sophomore in college. You really haven't done that much yet. So I like that type of an attitude. And Terrence Laird on the outside, man, this kid is just a live wire. Walks to the beat of his own drum. And an interesting personality, but he looked light and lively and quick yesterday. 20:46 in his qualifying run.
Dang it. What a great setup for Bowling, though, with Laird on his outside, knowing that the time to beat is 20:32, a time that after yesterday's run, he has to think it's within his grasp. So Joseph Fahnbulleh, no doubt, down on the infield, nervous at what might happen in this second section. He puts down the number 10 time in collegiate history, but no guarantee that he's the champion. From the inside, it's Broom of A&M, Davis of Florida, then Matt Bowling of Georgia, Terrence Laird of LSU. Now watch that line. We had a lot of DQs in this race from yesterday on the men's side. And Bowling is going to be DQ'd. Laird is going to win the heat anyway. 20:28. What does it correct to? It stays at 20:28, and that is your champion right there. Terrence Laird knew what he had to do. 20:32 is the time that was put up by that man, Joseph Fahnbulleh of Florida, and Terrence Laird runs 20:28 to knock it down. Matt Bowling finishes second, but he'll certainly be disqualified for running inside the line. That now is the number 10 all time amongst collegians in the 200.
Congratulations from Fambula and Mike Holloway. Here we see Matthew Bowling, second from the left in the black uniform as he comes around the turn. Watch these steps. Watch, that's his line. You can see that he clearly steps not only on the line, but inside the line, and that's just him pressing. Laird had such a great start. He went out so hard, and that was a good thing because it was gonna pull Matthew Bowling, but he got too far inside. You have to really stay in the middle of the outside lane on that turn. But what a run by Laird. He comes in and says, you know what, I'm the defending champion. I want to keep it.
And that is also an SEC championship record. So congratulations to Terrence Laird. Outstanding run. Joseph Fambule wins it from section 1. Matt Bowling will be disqualified. Back with more.
Welcome you back into the Randall Tyson Indoor Track Center. SEC Track and Field Championships. Team score in the men, 15 of 17. It's 2 to go. Arkansas in control, but LSU, I don't know if they scared them, but they certainly got the Razorbacks' attention. But now we go for the 3K, and that's where the Razorbacks got a few guys who probably salt this thing away. Dwight, Dan, ready with the call.
Here we are for the men's 3,000 meters. Alistair Craig, the collegiate record holder. Cameron Griffith, the meet record holder. 16 entered, 15 showed up for the line. Davis Bove of LSU is a scratch. He ran the mile earlier, scored for the Tigers. 15 laps of this 200-meter track. They will stay in those groups through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole on the home straight. And this race featuring Gilbert Boyd of Arkansas and Kenya. Eliud Kipsang of Alabama and Kenya. And Cole Bullock of Ole Miss, doubling back from his 5,000-meter win yesterday, just a freshman. Walid Suleiman is also in this race, doubling back from the mile.
I don't see
I don't see him.
Yeah.
He is also a scratch, so we're down to 14. Suleiman winning the mile earlier and setting a meet record in so doing. And Boyd in his customary back of the pack position early on in these distance races.
And Alabama's going to trick us today. They wore all white during the distance medley relay 2 nights ago, and today they're in all crimson.
In fact, all three of the Arkansas athletes back in the back. So the pace is reasonable in that they're nicely strung out here early on. Dalton Hengst leading, and we'll come back with more of the coverage of this 3,000-meter final right after this. Back in Fayetteville in the middle of the men's 3,000-meter final, coming up on 8 laps remaining. Dalton Hengst of Ole Miss continuing to lead over Eliud Kipsang, the freshman from Alabama. And Garcia Romo of Ole Miss also there in 3rd. Let's step aside for a moment and give you a little update on the men's shot put. This is Florida senior Connor Bardell. This was his 2nd attempt at the competition. 2nd at this meet last year, 4th the year before. Using that spin technique. And on the 2nd attempt, he gets out to 62 3¼ That would put him finally in 3rd place. Alabama senior Isaac Odigbesan, his 3rd attempt, 65 4¼ He's from Nigeria. He was 4th at this meet 2 years ago. Transferred from Middle Tennessee State. And then into the ring, Jordan West, the Tennessee junior. This was his 5th attempt. He was 6th at this meet 2 years ago, and that took the lead. A big lifetime best for the Tennessee junior. Then into the ring for his 6th attempt, once again came the Alabama senior Isaac Ogbeson. He saved his best for last. The number 6 throw amongst collegians, 67 3 1/4 to steal it on the 6th and final frame for the Crimson Tide. Nice to PR in a big meet. Watch him at the NCAA championships in 2 weeks. All right, coming up now, just 5 laps remaining. And now Eliud Kipsang, the freshman from Alabama, has taken over the lead. And Mario Garcia Romo of Ole Miss, and from Spain, they're in second. Amon Kemboy of Arkansas, currently in the 3rd position. Arkansas 3rd, 4th, and about 6th currently. There's Connor Bullock, a somewhat surprise 5,000-meter winner yesterday, there with the longer hair, in about 5th position now.
Well, Bullock looks good. He doesn't look like he's labored at all, but it's really interesting. After that distance medley relay, Alabama finishing second, Eliud Kipsang, he really became a big topic of discussion on social media. And not much is really known about him, but he got a 3:42 personal best in the 1500. He's run 1,000 meters in 2:26. He's been under 4 minutes in the mile a couple of different times, but this is his first SEC championship meet, and we're getting to meet this guy literally for the first time.
A 24-year-old freshman, so an awful lot of experience being at that age, just being a freshman. Kipsang looking around. It's gotten a little more tactical. You can see the group is bunched up. Nobody is really out of the race at this point. A lot of opportunities for scoring. LSU runner trying to get through on the rail. And that's very dangerous here. Good way to turn an ankle. Eric Hoskin really dancing on that inside lane. Coming up with 2 laps remaining now, and literally everyone is in this race and could score.
Kipsang's on the ranked 8th on the descending order mile list, and a lot of people think if he can run low 350s, as Ole Miss begins to make a move, he could challenge the Oregon athletes at the NCAA championships.
Arkansas with 4 athletes in this race, and LSU making a move up the leaderboard. This probably should put it away. Garcia Romo takes the lead, and at the bell, Kipsang hotly in pursuit right there. Kemboy also in full flight, checks back to see where he's at. Bullock is not out of it, but that 5,000 probably took a little of the sting out of the kick that he showed yesterday. Mario Garcia Romo, can he hold off Eliud Kipsang? Yes, he can. Mario Garcia Romo of Ole Miss wins it over Kipsang and Kemboy of Arkansas. Bullock comes up for 4th after his victory yesterday in the 5,000.
Well, Garcia Romo was the one who broke open the distance medley relay and really created space on that final leg in the 1600. He showed great patience, and he just had a fantastic kick over the last lap of this 3,000 meters. Another distance win for the Ole Miss Rebs.
Well, Arkansas scored 4 people. They scored 12 points in that 3,000 meters. Mario Garcia Romo wins it for Ole Miss.
In the men's triple jump, I think Kerry McLeod from Tennessee was tired of second. He was second in this event last year. He was second in the long jump, but this year he takes the title in the triple jump with a personal best. 56 feet 4 inches. He saved the best for last. The 6th round. All of the 3 top competitors here scheduled personal bests. It was an outstanding competition.
And there are the results. McLeod with the win. Christian Edwards of Alabama second. Sean Dixon Bodie of LSU finishing 3rd. And so here are the standings with 1 event remaining. Arkansas has wrapped it up by points. The maximum in the 4x4 is 10, so they're well outside that. LSU made a great run at it with 93 in 2nd place. Ole Miss 3rd, Alabama 4th. That's likely to change once we've run this 4x400 relay. 2 more sections remaining. The collegiate record, ostensibly the world record, 3 flat 77 by an amazing quartet of SC Trojans 3 seasons ago. There is Arkansas out in lane 6. They are scheduled to run Jaden Bartholomew on leadoff, Jalen Brown 2nd, James Milholden 3rd, and then Reiko Schwartz will anchor. Alabama in 4, Florida in 5, Arkansas on the outside in 6. As always, they will stay in lanes from the gun through the first 2 full turns and then break for the pole on the finishing straightaway. Arkansas comes in with a season best time of 3:07.26. It's a very competitive race on paper with Florida at 3:06.86 and Alabama at 3:07.88. I would suspect that these teams are readier now than they were then. So expect those times to improve as Florida takes the early lead.
Well, Ryan Riley, who finished in 3rd place in that 400-meter final, almost just an hour of rest time here. He takes the leadoff duties for the Florida Gators.
It's Willie for Florida. Bartholomew for Arkansas, or Alabama, I should say, is in 2nd place. That's Gabriel Serrano as they get ready to hand off. Florida hands off to Ian Davis. Alabama to Leander Forbes, and Arkansas to Jalen Brown.
First leg for Florida, 46-4.
Florida always competitive in these conference 4x4s. I'm surprised to see them in the 2nd section rather than the 3rd section. Just not having any luck eating into that lead of Ian Davis for Florida. Now starting to make a move late. Alabama's Forbes making up some room. Denzel Villaman for Florida, Joshua St. Clair for Alabama, and James Milholland for Arkansas.
46-18 there for Ian Davis.
And now it's a much tighter race between Florida in front and Alabama.
Leander Forbes gave Alabama a 45-second leg, which helped them close the gap just a little bit.
Milholland trying really hard to get Arkansas back in this. He's doing a fine job of it. He is closing hard. Look at Arkansas coming from way back. Now it's competitive. They almost all hand off evenly. Florida maintains the lead. Arkansas into 2nd. No, Arkansas into the lead with Reiko Schwartz. Florida, this is Jacob Miley, and for Alabama, Champion Allison.
Champion Allison, 6th place in the 400. That 400-meter final. Let's see if he can close the gap here.
Reiko Schwartz took off awfully fast to get in that lead in that first turn. Now here comes Champion Allison, passing on the turn. Got a head of steam. Schwartz probably doesn't know that he's coming. And Champion Allison wins it for Alabama. What a great race. 3:04.88, a significant improvement. 3 full seconds on their season best. They just raced themselves right into NCAA contention in 2 weeks. Corrected to 3:04.90, but still just short of a 3-second improvement over their season best. Conference championship will do that to you.
Well, here's the final exchange as Alabama comes out last in that 3rd exchange. But what I love about what Champion Allison did is he was patient. He didn't try to get it all back at once. He just bided his time, but he moved to the outside lane, and so he was able to keep his momentum going forward. No stutter steps, no stammers. He just goes around on the outside and runs a fantastic anchor leg.
For their effort, Arkansas also improved on their season best by more than 2 seconds. And Florida by 0.8 of a second. So championship racing brings the best out in everybody. Alabama 3:04.90 for the time to beat for this final section. And this final section features University of Georgia out of lane 3, Texas A&M out of lane 4, Kentucky in 5, Tennessee on the outside in 6. And these are the teams with the 4 best times in the conference coming into this championship. And there's Matthew Bowling for Georgia. They're loading it up.
And believe it or not, Dwight, Georgia has never won an SEC indoor 4x400 meter championship. But when you're in the conference with Texas A&M and Florida, that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, Matthew Bowling, only 1 open 400 meters in this indoor season. Put him on the national list. So on the national list in the open 60, 200, 400, and now a real solid long jumper over 8 meters for the first time this season. But he's that Swiss Army sprinter that every college team wishes they had. Long speed, short speed, even give you both 2 legs on a couple of relays outdoors.
They will start in lane 3, so it's going to be a little tighter for Bowling in those first 2 turns. Texas A&M in 4 will start Brandon Miller. Kentucky will start Jacob Smith, and Tennessee on the outside starts with Sebastian Cooper. 3:04.90, the time to beat, established by Alabama. From the inside, Georgia, A&M, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And Bowling has already made up the stagger on Texas A&M. And Bowling gets the pole for the Bulldogs.
Mid 21 second there at the 200 meter mark.
So Georgia, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Tennessee. And Bowling will pass off first for his team to Caleb Kavanaugh. Kentucky passes to Lance Lang. Georgia, A&M to Bryce Dedman, and Tennessee to Christopher Bailey.
45-18, excuse me, for Matthew Bowling.
Strong opening leg, especially out of lane 3. I expect Bryce Dedman to close a lot of that gap in the next 50 meters. Here comes Kentucky. They will pass off even with Georgia. Kenroy Williams for the Wildcats. Amajuwa Etiwi for A&M. Delano Dunkley for Georgia. And Emmanuel Bynum for Tennessee.
Lance Lang just dropped a 44.89, Dwight, on his relay leg. Not bad for a 200 meter runner.
That's why Kentucky has the best time in the conference coming into this meet. Now Tennessee making a move. Emmanuel Bynum running a lot of extra distance, trying to take the lead. And Bynum does so. Now it's Tennessee, Kentucky, A&M, and Georgia. And the fortunes have changed. Tennessee hands off to Jonathan Secours. Kentucky to Dwight St. Hilaire. A&M, Alon Clay, and Elijah Godwin for Georgia. And look at Godwin.
That third leg for Tennessee, 45-38.
Tennessee nicely in command at the bell. Can anybody catch Jonathan Secours?
That is a big gap.
It's a big gap with only a little over 100 meters to go. Elijah Godwin now dropping into second. But does he have enough gas? And enough real estate? Not enough real estate, that's for sure. Tennessee's going to win it. 3:04.06, that's going to win it and score the 10 points for the Volunteers. Kentucky second at 3:04.67. Georgia 3:04.72. So the top three beat the time posted by Alabama. They will end up with the 4th place points. That was a great race. A lot of lead changes.
This is the sophomore Emmanuel Bynum. Just fearless out there. He ran almost the entire race, his entire leg in the 2nd lane until the very end, but he was the biggest difference maker. And then it was Jonas Sakur. He just had to hold on for a Tennessee victory.
Tennessee establishes the #1 time in the country, but 4 SEC teams under 3:05 in this conference championship with 2 weeks remaining to get even better. And they'll be right back here on this very fast track. A great 4x400. Look at those times. That's incredible. Incredible depth in this conference. We'll be back to wrap it up when we return to Fayetteville.
We take a look at the final men's team standings from the 2021 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. And the Arkansas Razorbacks with 116 points, better than LSU there at 93. So it's a 23-point margin and a 24th SEC championship. But a first here at Arkansas. It's the first time they've ever won it without an individual champion. Great depth on this squad as Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, gives them that trophy. And then Chris Bucknam, well, he's got nothing but compliments for his guys.
We had 27 athletes compete. 24 of them scored. Our goal was to win a ring. That's what our goal was to do, and get on TV with you. So it was just a great performance by our guys. And again, we put it together. Our coaches, Doug Case and Mario Satania, did a phenomenal job across the board. 24 out of 27 people scoring. That's a great team victory.
I mean, I didn't have the heart to tell them the whole meet's on TV. Right, like they're on a bunch. But as for the women's title race, well, 5,000 meters will play a big part in that. Here's Dwight.
All right, John, that 5,000 meters was an exciting event yesterday. The maximum allowable 24 athletes on the track. And Katie Izzo there in the burgundy of Arkansas was favored to defend her crown. Took the lead late. Thought she had it locked, but Joyce Camelli of Auburn, she had different ideas. She had come from behind, had measured the field, and had a head of steam under her, and steals the 5,000 in the last lap. Defending champion denied. Joyce Camelli of Auburn wins it over Katie Izzo and Mercy Chilangat, who did a lot of the work the last mile.
So we look at the women's team standing. 7 of 17 events are complete. And Arkansas, we should just, here, they are powered by their distance group. And right now, they're sitting 3rd. They're just kind of on the shoulder of Ole Miss and Georgia. And they're ready to blow by them here when the time comes. And with the women's mile to start, Dwight, the time has come.
It certainly has. The collegiate record holder, Jenny Behringer, now Simpson, maybe our finest middle distance runner running in the last decade. Dominique Scott of Arkansas has the meet record. There are 10 athletes in this final. Arkansas has half the field. So they're certain to score a boatload of points, led by this young lady, their senior, Chrissy Gear. She was 2nd at this distance a year ago.
There's Amaris Tanisma. If anybody hopes to break up that dominance of Arkansas, she's somebody who certainly can. She's ranked number 3 in the nation, number 2 in the SEC with a 4:33. She was 2nd just a couple weeks ago here at the Tyson Invitational.
Alabama going with their crimson today. They were in white in the preliminaries. Here's how they will line up. Look at all that Arkansas on that board. As I mentioned, 25 total finalists on the track today. 5 of them right here in the women's mile. They will start in those groups. 3 on the outside, 7 on the inside. Stay in their lane in that group through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole in the home stretch.
In the men's mile, we saw a new SEC record and a number of other fantastic marks come out of that earlier session. Let's see what we can come up with here in the evening session.
2 milers under 3:59. It was a rarity to see 4 minutes broken in the SEC mile final, usually a tactical affair. And Tenisma sharing the lead early. Now Van Camp of Arkansas taking the lead in earnest. And we'll watch for the pace. Still a bit of a bunched up field. Imogene Barrett of Florida with the 6 on her thigh, also from Australia. So you know when you see them bunching up like that and looking for room to run to the outside that the pace is not terribly blistering. About 70 for the first lap, so not terrible, but certainly everybody in it. Van Camp, Tenisma, Barrett, the top 3. Lauren Gregory of Arkansas also up there, along with Presley Weems of Auburn.
Wouldn't sleep on Barrett in there. I'm not sure she's in peak fitness, but she, of course, won the 2019 1500 meters outdoor, so she certainly has the bona fides to compete up there up front. Right there in third, her coach Chris Zielinski, who said that she's not in peak fitness, but we're going to try to figure out a race plan that maybe gives her a shot.
Well, this race pace, I think, will probably give her a shot here.
Definitely picking up. As Gracie Hyde of Arkansas races up from back in the pack to take over the leading duties. And with 5 of the 10 athletes in the race, Arkansas obviously can run some team tactics. That was a slow second 400, 2:22.7 at the half.
Right at about 450 pace, 455 pace.
So we're not looking for a championship record, but it could be a heck of a race with the runners with the speed in this race. This is just perfect for them. Maris Tenisma of Alabama now taking over the lead. She did the same thing in her preliminary. A whole lot of Arkansas up front. There goes Imogene Barrett. And the next 5 athletes are from Arkansas. Now the next 4. A lot of scoring potential there with 4 of the 6 up front Razorbacks.
Lauren Gregory, the 2019 champ. So in all, in these 17 women's events, if you count the relays, there are 13 returning champions in this meet. A lot of experience.
So Tenisma really starting to push the pace. They're going to make him kick it in from way out. Already dropping a couple of Arkansas runners back. It's just Chrissy Gear and Lauren Gregory up front now for the Razorbacks.
Lauren Gregory looks like she's still got a lot of run in her legs. Very comfortable. Chrissy Gear as well.
Imogene Barrett starting to fall off the pace. So now it's Chrissy Gear going after Tenisma. Did Tenisma make her move too soon? Gear passes before the turn, and there goes Gregory. Tenisma then kicks it into another gear. So nobody's going to catch Chrissy Gear, but can Lauren Gregory get second? Doesn't look like it. Gear wins it. It's 1, 3, 5, 7 Arkansas.
Here we see the last 100. Chrissy Gear's got a nice head of steam as she goes down that back straight, and that's exactly where you want to pass somebody on the straight and not on the turn. And when she does pass, she passes decisively. She's got the leg turnover, and what started out as a very pedestrian pace, not what shouldn't have ended as a very quick pace, they negative split this thing, and she wins in 4:34. Classic Arkansas style. Tanisma is second. Lauren Gregory, a strong finish for third place.
Didn't miss the meet record by all that much, but it's the points that matter. 1:357 for Arkansas, 22 points in the mile for the Razorbacks. John?
Chrissy Gear, gee, you only moved up one spot from last year, but it seems like that makes all the difference in the world. Congratulations on the championship. Tell me how this thing played out in real time as opposed to maybe the plan you had coming in.
I guess I didn't have a plan, so, man, hold on, my brain's so slow right now, I'm sorry. Oh, these are tough girlies, for sure. Anyways, no plan, just not to follow up the back of the lead pack, stay in contact, and then I didn't want to lose to anyone who wasn't my teammate, you know? Like you said, 22 points a mile, that was the goal, is to get as many points as we can here to push the team up to like the overall title. So, very excited about it. Got the job done, and 3K next. That'll be fun.
That's right. We'll let you go get warmed down and then get stretched out. Triumph of an uncluttered mind. Sometimes you don't need a great plan. Chrissy Gear, congratulations.
Thank you.
There you see the excitement right there of the individual champ. SEC champ. That'll look good on the mantle. Back with more racing coming up right after this. We're going 60-meter dash. Wednesday, men's basketball doubleheader kicking off, tipping off. Number 24, Mizzou taking on Florida. Foul that up with the Bulldogs and the Aggies. Mississippi State, Texas A&M. Coverage will begin 6:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network, and of course streaming on the ESPN app. Reading promos for a living, that's really easy stuff. Dan, I'll let you do the heavy lifting.
Well, how about I let these ladies do the heavy lifting in the women's weight throw. This is Jasmine Mitchell. She was second last year in the weight throw, and in the fourth round she blasts a 76-foot 3-inch throw for a personal best. She'll win the competition with that throw right there. Nobody could overtake her. This is Maddie Ballone in the fifth round. She heaves one out to 75 1.25. This is a personal best for her, and she would move into second position. Shea Taiwu, one of the favorites coming into this event. On her sixth and final round, she saved her best for last, 75 7.25. Another personal best there. Personal best for the top three, but Shea Taiwu, she would take over second position. And Scott Smith and the Ole Miss ladies, they come away with 22 points in the women's weight throw.
All right, I interrupt this broadcast with breaking news. Arkansas is no longer in third place. Razorbacks, on the strength of that performance in the mile, have taken the lead through 8 events, and it seems like perhaps they don't have to look back and will be on their way and start adding to that total in bunches coming up. All right, well, we just saw the mile. A lot of drama builds through that. Go to the 60, Dwight, where the drama starts when they get in the blocks.
That's for certain. The women's 60 meters next on the program. Collegiate record held jointly by Hannah Cunliffe and Aaliyah Hobbs, and the SEC meet record, Ramona Burchell, when she was competing for Arkansas. Abby Steiner of Kentucky looked good not only in this race, but the 200, where we will see her later on in the evening.
There's Tamara Clark. She was a 2-time winner in 2019. Second place in the 200. She won this event last year. And we're looking back in history, and no athlete since 2013 has won both the 60 and the 200 meters. Either one of these athletes have that opportunity today. Abby Steiner and Tamara Clark will go head-to-head in the 200 meters as well.
Steiner would be in lane 3, third from the right. Tamara Clark of Alabama, lane 6, third from the left. Not a great start for Steiner at all. She's left in the blocks. And it looks like it's going to be from Tennessee, Joella Lloyd in the middle of the track. The 18-year-old sophomore from Antigua. She steals it, 7:15. Jada Baylock of Arkansas comes up for second in 7:18 in the 2 that we were looking for. not in the first and second position. Abby Steiner totally got left in the blocks. It's the #2 time amongst collegians this year.
Well, there you see Joella Lloyd in the middle of the track, and she's in the middle of the track because she had one of the fastest qualifying times. Look at the start she gets. She stands it up just a little bit, but she picks up about midway through and just outlifts everybody to the line in an impressive 7:15. She came in with a 7:20 indoor personal best, and she definitely saved her best indoor race for last. Jada Baylark, 7:18. Baylark is having one heck of a meet for Arkansas.
And that is the first time a Tennessee female sprinter has won the 60 meters in the conference. 7:15, the #2 time in the country, wins it for Joella Lloyd. Jada Baylark of Arkansas, also with a great start, ends up second. Samira Killebrew of Florida, 7:21 in third, and Steiner and Clark fourth and fifth. That was a little bit of a surprise, a great race, but a lot more sprinting left to go later in the program. Switching over very quickly to the women's high jump from yesterday. And Tyra Gittens, who had a disappointing 6th place in the pentathlon due to a terrible long jump competition, jumped 6'1 1/4, no misses on the way. She'll be long jumping later in the program. This is Anna Hall, who won the pentathlon and cleared 6'2 1/4 as part of that competition. That was a lifetime best. Here's her second attempt at 6'1 1/4. With a slight brush, it stays on. So 2 good days of high jumping for Hall. 6'2 1/4 first day, 6'1 1/4 second day. And then Abigail O'Donoghue of LSU. This was her second attempt at 6'1 1/4. She was second at this meet last year, the winner 2 years ago, and was 6th at the NCAAs 2 years ago. Top 3 jumpers in the country, all in the same conference, and she's over with a slight brush as well. Gittens had won it at 6'2 1/4 with this jump right here. Had no misses on the way, compact. Watch how vertical she is in the run, and watch her pop off the ground. That's how you get it done. She took 2 jumps at 6'4", unsuccessful, and we talked to her afterwards.
Today was all about beating myself, because yesterday I let the negative Tyra, the bad Tyra that we don't like to see, I let her overtake. I let her win yesterday, and today I relaxed, I let go, and I have fun, and everything that I wanted to do was executed, and I cannot be happier. I'm exhausted, but I am so proud of myself, and I'm very happy.
Yep. And next on the track, the women's 400-meter 2-section final. Kendall Ellis setting the collegiate record 3 years ago. Sydney McLaughlin in her only collegiate year setting the meet record 3 years ago. And in lane 5 in section 1, Amber Anning of LSU and Great Britain, the 20-year-old sophomore. She was third at this distance a year ago. Here is the start list. Robinson Jones of A&M in lane 3, Morgan Burks McGee in 4, Amber Anning of LSU in 5, and then Rosie Effiong of Arkansas on the outside. Runners in this race will establish the time to beat for the second section. You can win the race from either section. It's all on time. They will stay in their lanes through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole on the finishing stretch.
Nice and even into this first 100 meters.
Morgan Burks McGee, she trains on this track, knows it well, probably practices in lane 4. But it's Rosie Effiong who gets the pole uncontested on the outside, 23.86 for the first 200 meters.
As Rosie Effiong came to the straight, she just put a little bit extra effort in that downhill. It caused her to create a little bit of gap for herself.
Effiong trying to hold off Burks McGee. Burks McGee going wide now. There's no really room for Amber Anning to run. And it's going to be Morgan Burks McGee establishing the time to beat at 52.10. That's good running from lane 4. Effiong, or Anning, I should say, 52.27 for second.
Right here, Dwight, it looked like Amber Anning had a lot more run left in her, but she had to go clear to the outside to pass anybody. But nice, smart running by Morgan Brooks McGee, who's done it over and over on this track all season long.
It's the number 6 time in the NCAA this year.
Now she gets to wait.
There's the official results. Morgan Brooks McGee, 52.10. Followed by Amber Anning in 52.27. Rosie Effiong, 52.30. All solid times that the second section will be trying to beat. And very quickly, up comes the second section. This is Talitha Diggs of Florida. She will start in lane number 5. She was the fastest qualifier from the prelims at 51.91. If she could replicate that performance, she would win easily.
Just a freshman. Great performances coming out of this young Florida team. There's Paris Peoples on the outside. Second fastest qualifier yesterday, 52.27. She's in a good spot on the outside. Certainly she knows this track better than anybody else in the race.
Taylor Manson, the senior from Florida, will start in lane 3. Megan Moss of Kentucky and the Bahamas, the sophomore, starting out of lane 4. Then Talitha Diggs in 5. Paris Peoples of Arkansas in 6. Another point scoring opportunity for the Razorbacks. They already have the leading time from the first section in Morgan Brooks McGee.
Ladies, on your line.
There's 2 parts of this race: racing to get the pole position and then holding on through to the end. From the inside, Manson of Florida, Moss of Kentucky, Diggs of Florida, and Peoples of Arkansas. Very even through this first 100 meters. Peoples starting to fade out in late 6. Here's the race for the pole. It's going to be Diggs uncontested.
Well, this is what Diggs did yesterday. She really pushed hard in that first 200 meters. She left herself a lot of work, but she was able to manage it.
23.99 for the 200 meters, slower than the first section. She's going to really pick it up. 52.10 is the time to beat for the title. It's Diggs struggling. Manson chasing. She won't catch her. Now it's all about the time. Oh, plenty of time. 51.14. And Taylor Manson with 51.82. 1 and 2 with that performance. Can't tell me it isn't a little bit of an advantage to be in this second section knowing what you're chasing.
Well, Talitha Diggs set herself up for a really, really challenging last 100 meters. But even though she was tired, even though she was beat, she kept her arms moving. She kept on swinging her arms. And that's what got her to the finish line. Look at that arm action. It might be a little bit tight and she's tired, but she continues to just make the body work and do what it knows how to do, and that's get to the line. It's good to be a Gator.
Well, Diggs already had the number 2 time in the country. She betters that in winning the title here at the SAT. Taylor Manson gets second place with 51.82, and we'll be back with a lot more right after this. Back in Arkansas for more SEC championships coverage. The women's DNR earlier in the program. Dan?
Katie Thronson from Tennessee, she got the Volunteers out to a really big lead. But in that 1,600 meters, it was Amaris Tenisma in the all-white on the outside. She'll bring Bama around for a win, and not just a win. Bama goes 10:59 for a new SEC record, but also 4 other teams were under the current record of 11:05. that Tennessee put up clear back in 2011. But lots to cheer about if you're an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. With a win in the distance medley relay, there you see Alabama was first, Florida second, and Arkansas, who decided to run a B team, was third.
So look at the team standings for the women after 11 of 17 events. Arkansas extending its lead now to 25 over Florida, who is 8 ahead of Georgia. But Arkansas with so many more opportunities to score. As we get ready for the women's 60-meter hurdles, Brianna Rollins, the Olympic champion in 2016, is the collegiate record holder, and Tania Marshall of LSU has the meet record.
There's there's Deja Freeman talking about opportunities to score there. Another Arkansas opportunity. Deja Freeman PR'd in her qualifying round yesterday with 8:10. Fastest qualifier coming into these finals. Second fastest qualifier. Milan Young was the fastest qualifier at 8:08.
And set a personal best in the qualifying. Arkansas has 3 scorers in this event. Lanes 5, 6, and 8. Freeman will be in lane 5. Young right next to her in lane 4. .60 meters, 5 sets of 33-inch hurdles. Young out well, adapts well to the gun. Freeman chase now, Freeman in front. It's Freeman, now here comes Young again. Melon Young comes back and wins it. Great start, then just lost a little between the first and second hurdle, regathered herself and came back nicely to win it in 8:03. Deja Freeman second in 8:07.
In the yellow top, there's Milan Young. Good start, pretty much even through the start, but it was between that third and fourth hurdle that she was really able to separate herself. She really was able to step down past that third hurdle. Here we get a nice head-on shot. Look at the stability of her and her shoulders. A little left to right, but not too much. Close race all the way through. Outstanding time though, 8:03. Deja Freeman, 8:07, continuing fast times over and over again on this track.
Lifetime best for both Young and Freeman. But Young gets the 10 points for LSU. Deja Freeman with Arkansas gets 2nd, 5th, and 8th. So a lot of points again for the Razorbacks in the women's hurdles. As we go back to the women's pole vault, consisted yesterday. Kayla Smith of Georgia, her first attempt at 14.3 1/4. 4th the last 2 years at the SEC indoor, and that was good enough for 2nd place. The defending champion Lisa Gunnarsson of LSU from Sweden. Her first attempt at 14.3 1/4. She is the defending champion, and she ends up 3rd on misses. More misses than did Kayla Smith have. But this is Julia Fixon, the sophomore at Georgia. Her first attempt at 14.5 1/4. She was runner-up here last year. She upgrades to the title this year. She was the #1 pole vaulter in high school in 2019. So first and second for the Bulldogs in the women's pole vault. 14.5 1/4 for Fixon, 14.3 1/4 for Smith and Gunnarsson. Next final on the track is the 800 meters. Jasmine Frey of A&M still the collegiate record holder. That could be challenged. Nicole Cook of Tennessee setting that meet record 16 years ago. And there she is, Ating Mo, the freshman. Won it all as a high schooler in New Jersey, now at A&M. Another great half miler at A&M. Right next to her, Shaviqua Maloney of Arkansas from St. Vincent and Grenadines, a senior here at Arkansas.
Well, 2:05 for Mo in the qualifying, 2:07 for Maloney. I think Maloney is the only person in this race that can challenge Mo at all. Athing's got the fastest time in both the 400 and the 800 collegiately this season, and Mo is so strong in the second half of the race. She took it easy yesterday and cruised into a 2:07, but she is absolutely a phenom. We're watching something very, very special.
Shafiqua Maloney there on your screen. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday. What would you rather be doing than running the 800-meter final at the SEC Championships?
Anna Marion Block just to the outside of Maloney from Georgia. She ran 2:06 in the qualifying.
Arkansas with 2 more finalists here to score more points. They'll stay on those groups through the first 2 turns. We've seen Mo like to lead. She looked very easy in her prelim heat yesterday.
So since the indoor season started, Dwight, Athing Mu puts up the nation's fastest 800 meters, fastest run for anybody her age. Then she also helps Texas A&M to a national record in the 4x4. Then in an open event, she runs the fastest 400 meters in the nation as well. So just a very special athlete. The 2019 USA Track and Field Junior Athlete of the Award. She stood up in front of everybody at the Jesse Owens Award and said, "My time is now," and she's proving it.
She's certainly used to running by herself out in front, so doing so in a championship race doesn't really matter that much to her. 57.9 for the first 400 meters. Pretty brisk. I don't think there's any question that she's going for the collegiate record right now, which is held by a Texas A&M athlete in Jasmine Frey. She set that record when she was a sophomore at A&M. Won her share of championships and NCAA point scores for the Aggies, but Mo is definitely going for it.
Well, she certainly got a chance. 1:27.6.
She's trying to become the first collegian to break 2 minutes indoors in the 800 meters. The record is 2:69 by Jasmine Frey. We're watching collegiate indoor history right here. The freshman from Texas A&M obliterates the collegiate record. 1:58.40. She takes more than 2 seconds off of the previous record, and she had to do that to break the school record. And that is the number 3 time in the world this year.
Well, from the start of the race, you could tell that Athing Mu was really trying to put up a good time. In that first 100 meters, she established a fantastic place, had a big lead. The toughest part of this race is that last lap all by yourself. Nobody there to push you, just you and yourself. And I just telling yourself you can do it, keep the tempo up. And she sees the time, 1:58.40.
Well, she went out in 57.9, came back in 60.5. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty fit. 1:58.40, a new collegiate record by Athing Mu, and she is with John.
Athing Mu, I don't know if I should ask you questions or just say thank you. Usually it's the athletes that are out of breath and don't know what to say in this question. Tell me, what does 1:58.40 say to you after that performance?
Oh God, I just know that I'm completely blessed here now. And I honestly just thank God for all the things that I'm able to do this whole entire season. I mean, it just shows that I'm just really strong, and I've grown a lot this past year just being in college as a collegiate athlete, so.
Well, in your first major collegiate championship, you smashed the college record. Congratulations, fantastic. And I'm sure Pat Henry's got a seat for you on the flight home to College Station.
He does.
All right, I'm not sure I want to run to the 200 and try and top that, but that's what comes next. But what a outstanding performance from Athing Mu. Fantastic stuff.
In the women's long jump, it was another personal record fest. This is LSU senior Aaliyah Wisby on her second attempt. This fast runway, everybody's enjoying a lot of speed on these fast runways. She bounces out to 21.8 1/4 for a personal best. She would finish second in the attempt. Excuse me, she would finish second in the event on her second attempt. This is Tatiana Marsh. She's a junior out of Georgia. This is her 5th attempt. She was 10th last year at these SEC championships. She would bounce out to 20 feet 10 3/4 inches for a personal best as well. She would finish in 3rd place. Well, as if the pentathlon and the high jump weren't enough, Tyra Gittens walks over to the long jump, her 8th event, and in the 6th and final round, she bounces out to 21.8 3/4 for a personal record, and she takes the event. Just moments after winning the high jump, she walks over, wins the long jump. This makes 23 points by Tyra Gittens, 21.8 3/4. Aaliyah Wisby was second. Tatiana Marsh from Georgia with the bronze medal.
So Arkansas now 28 points in the lead and running away with it here on the women's side, just as we knew the #1 track team in the country would do. Florida second, Georgia third. As we get ready now for the 2-section final of the women's 200, Gabby Thomas of Harvard, the collegiate record holder from 3 seasons ago. Abby Steiner with the meet record from yesterday's preliminaries. She will be in the 2nd section as we look at Favor Ofili of LSU. And on her outside, it's Jada Baylark of Arkansas. Actually, they've flipped the lanes. Baylark is in 5, Ofili in 6. So Ofili is going to be a rabbit for Baylark if she allows herself to do so. Remember, it's just 1 lap of this track, all in lanes. And the goal for the person in lane 6 is to never see their competitors. From the inside, Jayla Hollis of Arkansas, DeJour Miles of Kentucky, then Baylark of Arkansas, Ofili of LSU.
Strong start for Baylark.
Baylark keying off Ofili. Ofili has the higher hill to climb, but the bigger downhill on the other side. Gotta watch the feet on those lines. It's gonna be Ofili. Now she establishes the time to beat. 22:76 unofficial, corrected to 22:75.
That is a gigantic personal best. She ran 23:15 yesterday in the qualifyings for a personal record. But here you see Favor Ofili in the bright yellow on the outside. She does a great job of coming off that bank and into the straightaway, just lifting, great arms. And I like her position as she goes to the line. Everything, all forces heading to the line, and she's just absolutely flabbergasted by that time. This track continues to put up one great time after the next, and now she gets to wait.
22:75 for Ofili is the _4 time in the country this year amongst collegians. DeJour Miles at 23:16, just off her lifetime best. And Jada Baylark for Arkansas in 3rd in that 1st section. Now, she gets to wait. Favor Ofili gets to wait and watch the 2nd section go. And it was the leading qualifier who will be in this second section. We saw her earlier in the 60 meters. Abby Steiner, a little bit of a disappointment in that 60, but she knew coming in here that she was ready to perform.
I knew that if I went out there and ran to win my heat, then it was going to be something fast. I think it gave me a lot of confidence with who I am as a runner, that, you know, I belong with the best of the best.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Far and away the best time run today.
The main thing is just to enjoy this moment. This is what we pretty much work for the entire year, and just have fun and go out there and, you know, win my heat, and the times will take care of themselves.
Abby Steiner will be starting in lane 5. That's the preferred lane on this track, and she will have Tamara Clark on her outside, who is no slow sprinter, to help pull her along. They're both disappointed in their performances in the 60 meters. A chance now for a little bit of redemption.
Tamara Clark, the SEC champion in 2019 in the 200 meters. Abby Steiner won it last year.
From the inside, Tiana. Ooh, and it's a call back. There's block slip.
That almost sounded like a misfire.
Like a blank. So they reset. No harm, no foul. So just a misfire of the gun, and 3 of the 4 athletes actually started. You know, starts take it out of you. And Steiner did not start. So resetting, Tiana Wilson from Arkansas in 3, Jenya Martin of A&M in 4, Abby Steiner, who is on your screen, in 5, and Tamara Clark of Alabama on the outside in lane 6. 22:75 is the time to beat. Put up by Favor Ofili of LSU in section 1. And Steiner's chasing Tamara Clark. Couldn't be a better setup for her. She ran 22:40 yesterday, just off the collegiate record. She's going to win the heat. Can she run the time? 22:51, not as fast as yesterday, but it is now 22:50. That wins the title for Abby Steiner. 22:70 for Tamara Clark. That will get her second.
Well, I liked what Abby Steiner said in her profile piece, that she knew that she just had to take advantage of her situation and she belonged, and she didn't do anything more than she normally does. And sometimes when you come off a failure in one event, you press a little bit. Abby Steiner definitely didn't press. This is how she has been running all season long. Nice and consistent. Great turnover down the stretch. It was enough to overtake Tamara Clark and Favor Ofili for the win.
So Steiner runs a 10th slower than in her preliminary heat, but it's fast enough to win the title. And Tamara Clark getting second, and John has Abby.
Abby Steiner, back-to-back championships here in the SEC in the 200. How do we recover from the 60, which is probably a little disappointing, and turn it into success here in the 200?
Yeah, I think you just have to take that race for what it is. It happened. You can't do anything to change it. So I think the best thing is just resetting and refocusing for the next thing.
You focus better than most. 22:50 and another championship here in the SEC. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you see the final results in the women's 200. We're going a lot longer when we come back. The women's 3,000 meters. We'll get a lot more Arkansas after the break. We are back here at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Try to get you ready for the women's 3,000 meters. Collegiate SEC record. Former Mizzou runner Carissa Schweitzer. Take a look at the defending champ, Katie Izzo. This, again, one of those races where we've got lots of Arkansas, but Arkansas has got some competition. And Alabama's Amaris Tenisma is in this thing. Joyce Camelli, who won the 5,000 from Auburn, needs to be looked at. Ditto with Mercy Chelangat. So a lot of Arkansas, but a lot of competition up front for the Razorbacks.
So they got it down to one section, 22 athletes on the track. And these two groups will stay in their groups through the first 2 turns, then break for the pole. 15 laps of this 200-meter track. Lots of runners doubling back from the mile earlier today and from the 5,000 yesterday. Yeah, Amaris Tenisma there in the all red of Alabama, taking the early lead. There goes Katie Izzo, right shoulder to shoulder.
There's actually Chrissy Gear up front.
Oh, Chrissy Gear, yes.
Coming back from her win in the mile to do some pacing here, but Tenisma as well ran a pretty solid mile. But that's a lot of people out on the track. 24 max, but even 22, you look at that field and you think, wow, this track isn't quite big enough for all of them, but this is indoor racing. You see some pushing and shoving there.
There are 6 Arkansas athletes in this field out of the 22 entries. That's more than 25% of the field. Not that they really need more points, but they're going to score more points. That is Joyce Kimeli in second place as they come around. They've got 12 laps remaining, so we've set the field. They're running, and we will step aside and come back with more coverage in just a moment.
Back as we pick up live coverage of the women's 3,000 meters. We'll talk about 94 feet up and down the hardwood. SEC women's basketball tournament right around the corner. First round coverage tips off Wednesday, 4 Eastern. It's right here on the SEC Network, of course. And then don't forget that every game of the conference tournament streams live on the ESPN app. Listen, I'd rather shoot a basketball than throw a shot put, but I figure, Dan, I'm airballing either one of those.
All right, here we go with the ladies. This is Latavia Maines. She's a senior from Tennessee, and on her second attempt, she really blasts one out there, 58.5 1/4. You can hear the Volunteer faithful going crazy. That was a personal best for her, number 4 on the NCAA list this season. This is Thea Johnson from Florida, just a sophomore. On her 5th attempt, she decides to put one out there, 55.4, and that's a personal best for her. This young lady is from Denmark. She's ranked 16th in the country right now, and this is Chelsea Murray, the senior from Alabama. She is actually from Trinidad and Tobago. On her 5th attempt, she goes out 56.2 and that's a personal best. But your winner today is a young lady from Tennessee, Latavia Maines, 2nd, Chelsea Murray, and 3rd, Thea Jensen from Florida.
Back to the 3,000, about 4.5 laps to go, and these three have broken away just like they did in the 5,000, but in a bit different order yesterday. It's Joyce Kimeli, the winner of the 5,000, leading this pack of 3. Katie Izzo, who was in that 5,000 yesterday, and Mercy Chilangat, who did a lot of the work in that 5,000.
And when Joyce Kimeli actually made the move, Katie Izzo and Chilangat, they just didn't have an answer for it whatsoever. They had used all their energy in the last 100 meters. Kimeli went around, swung around outside. It was just a little bit of an unusual race for her as well. She hadn't run that fast. She hadn't gotten the standard to go to indoors, and she decided to just believe in herself. She came away with a victory and a very fast time.
Katie Izzo making a move as we get to 3 laps remaining. You're not seeing a clock because the facility is having trouble with the clock. It's stuck on 4:18.8, so we haven't had a clock for a while. Katie Izzo taking advantage of a lapped runner. Grace Chilangat now into 2nd, and Joyce Kimeli into 3rd. Kimeli dropping back and now going back into 2nd. So now Izzo is the hunted. Yesterday it was Chilangat who was leading. 2 laps to go. And they're going to start to run into more lapped runners.
Well, what's interesting about this, the athletes can't see the clock, the fans can't see the clock, or the coaches, so these athletes really have to listen to their coaches. They have to get the instruction from the sidelines. Very similar position that we saw in the 5K yesterday. It looked like Katie just does not want to let this pace lag at all to give Kimeli another chance like she did yesterday.
The problem is I think Kimeli is up to the task. She can win it either way. She can stay with the hard pace, or she's got another gear to sprint at the bell. Izzo now about to pass her teammate, Gear, the winner of the mile. Chilangat has been dropped. She's easily 25 meters back. It's a 2-woman race now. Katie Izzo, who has led the last 3 laps, and Joyce Kimeli, the winner of yesterday's 5,000. My money's on Kimeli. She's waiting until about the exact same spot as she did yesterday, and I don't see Izzo with a response. Kimeli about to make it a double victory. 5,000 yesterday, 3,000 today. And Izzo finishes 2nd. Chilangat going to finish 4th because Lauren Gregory, coming back from the mile, finishes 3rd for Arkansas. So 2nd and 3rd for Arkansas.
Well, another great run for Joyce Kimeli. It's just absolutely amazing what can happen when you believe in yourself and believe in your training. It's a carbon copy of the 5,000 meters yesterday. Joyce waits with about 50 meters to go and just goes up and around Katie Izzo, a couple of fantastic races there for the junior from Auburn.
So there is your double champion. 20 points scored for Auburn by Joyce Camelli, the junior. And we'll be back with more when we return to Fayetteville. In the women's triple jump, which we covered a bit earlier, this is Natricia Hooper, the senior from Florida. Second attempt. She's from Guyana, had no 2020 season whatsoever, and goes out to 44.1½. She was third at the 2019 SEC Indoor. And we go over to Jasmine Moore of Georgia, the sophomore. This is her third attempt, and she goes out to a lifetime best 45 feet 10 inches. She was fourth in the long jump earlier in the program, and she is the defending champion in this event. And this is Ariana Fisher of Missouri, and on her sixth and final attempt, coming back from fourth at this meet a year ago, she gets a lifetime best and sneaks into second place by an inch over Natricia Hooper. All of those marks good enough to go to the NCAA championships in 2 weeks. Jasmine Moore wins it with a lifetime best 45.10. Ariana Fisher, 8 points from Mizzou, and Natricia Cooper of Florida gets third. Women's 4x400 relay. They've been able to reduce it to 2 sections. This is the first of 2. The collegiate record is there, set this year by Texas A&M. In this race will be Vanderbilt starting in lane 3, Tennessee in 4, South Carolina in 5, and LSU in 6. They've seeded these based on time throughout the season. Only 12 teams can qualify to the NCAA championships, and those without a qualifying standard or one that's a bit on the bubble. This is a great opportunity for them to better their time in a very competitive situation. For Vanderbilt, that's Madison Fuller on the leadoff. Tennessee's Vanessa Watson. Knowledge Amovo of South Carolina. We got no lineups for the LSU team.
But I can't tell you that first runner is Simone Mason.
We are at the mercy of the coaches and then reporting their lineup of their quartets.
Simone Mason's been doing some short duty sprinting for LSU, but while she was at Miami as a freshman, she was more of a 200 meter, 400 meter specialist.
LSU will hand off first with South Carolina in hot pursuit. That is Rachel Glenn of South Carolina. We saw her earlier in the high jump and the pentathlon.
53.62 for Simone Mason.
LSU and South Carolina have distanced themselves nicely from Vanderbilt and Tennessee. For Tennessee, that is Martina Weil. And for Vanderbilt, Jordan Smith. So LSU extending its lead as they pass off for the second time. South Carolina goes to Ashton Lindley, Britton Wilson for Tennessee, and Kara Brown for Vanderbilt.
Outstanding second leg.
It's Milan Young, the hurdler for the Tigers.
52.09 for that second leg for LSU, and I think that was Talitha Diggs. Excuse me, she ran for Florida. My mistake.
That's the next section.
Yes.
So LSU with about a 20-meter lead at this point. They come in with their seed time of 3:35.29. Now South Carolina coming back with Ashton Lindley, the freshman, closing the gap. But LSU still handing off with about a 6-meter lead. For South Carolina, that's Stephanie Davis on the anchor.
53.94 for Milan Young.
Stephanie Davis puts the Gamecocks in front, coming to the bell.
That's Amber Anning for LSU.
Anning back in the lead for the Tigers. Davis is going to take one more crack at it off this turn. Can Anning hold her off? She's looking at giving her the side eye. And LSU wins the heat, establishes the time to beat from the first section. 3:31.82, quite an improvement on their season best time of 3:35.29.
52.18 for Amber Anning. Nice anchor leg. Davis for South Carolina ran a 51.58. Tennessee had a bad exchange from second to third. Here we see Davis from South Carolina trying to make a move on the outside. Amber Anning doesn't look too distressed, but she is giving it everything she's got out there. Nice anchor leg, 52.18 for Anning.
LSU wins it with a huge season best, 3:31.82. South Carolina just 0.04 of a second back in second, and then Tennessee and Vanderbilt trailing from there. They both got season bests, all 4 teams with season bests. So now, second section, these are the 4 top seeded teams in the conference on the women's side. That is Morgan Burks McGee, who will lead off for the Razorbacks. They will be out in lane 6. Florida in 3, Kentucky in 4, Texas A&M, who has the collegiate record, in 5, and then Arkansas in 6. Arkansas comes in with a seed time for the season of 3:30.80. Florida 3:34.02. And Texas A&M with that collegiate record 3:26.27. They are not running the team that ran that collegiate record. And I see that they are not fielding a team in lane 5. A&M has scratched. Only 3 teams in this second section. So from the inside, it's Florida with Taylor Manson as leadoff. Then Kentucky with Megan Moss in the leadoff. And then we already seen Morgan Burks McGee for Arkansas. Burks McGee getting the pole. Taylor Manson now coming back on Burks McGee for the turn, but can't quite close the deal. Has to run wide. Florida handing off just ahead of Arkansas. For Florida, that's Sterling Lester. For Arkansas, Rosie Effiong. And for Kentucky, Abby Steiner.
52.48 for the Florida runner.
Abby Steiner just turns on the speed up that finishing stretch. Can she drop in? She does. She's got that short, choppy movement with her arms that get her feet just turning over so quickly.
And that's Talitha Diggs, actually, from Florida. We got that order mixed around a little bit, but I love to see the short sprinters move out to 400. Watch them slow it down just a little bit, just from a pace standpoint.
Talitha Diggs, the daughter of Joetta Clark, the great 800-meter runner for the U.S. for so many years, so many Olympic and World Championship teams. That is her daughter.
51-42 for Abby Steiner.
So they put Shafiqua Maloney on the third leg. She was supposed to anchor. And for Kentucky, this is supposed to be Masai Russell. It is. And now some separation. Maloney with that 800-meter strength and 400-meter speed. So Arkansas will hand off with about a 12-meter lead.
That was a strong leg by Maloney. 51-84 for Shafiqua.
Kentucky in pursuit. Is that Dejar Miles? Still quite a gap to make up at the bell. I think this is doable. Kentucky with a better turnover. Oh, she gives her the inside and then tries to close it down and does. Arkansas holding them off. 3:28.50. That easily wins the title, and 10 more points for the Razorbacks. And all three of these teams beat the winning time from the first section.
Well, there we see the second to the third exchanges. Shafiqua Maloney did a wonderful job for the Razorbacks. Used her height and that strength. You got it right, hit it right on the head here, Dwight. So much strength in that 800 meters. I'd love to see 400-meter hurdlers jump in this 4x4 and that strength of the 800 meters. And here is your finish. Kentucky's anchor leg ran 50.93. Arkansas's 52.02. What a finish. But Arkansas closes it out in style with the team title and the gold medal in the 4x4.
3:28.50, more than 2 seconds better than the season best. They win the title. Kentucky second, Florida third. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. Back to wrap things up here from the 2021 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. And there you see the final results in the team standing on the women's side. And Arkansas, how many points do they have? Enough. Scored in 13 different events and 141 total points. Good for their 7th straight championship trophy here in this conference. Confetti, the whole works. Now they'll try to back that up at the NCAA championships, both indoor and cross country. Lance Harder, he's getting used to this kind of success. 11th championship overall indoor. Here's the coach and how he and his group got it done.
Well, I think it takes a village, and it starts with the athletes, and then you build on top of that great coaching staff with Brian Compton and Chris Johnson, and then all the medical staff, the nutrition staff, our administration that supports us so well, that it's a combined effort by everyone to realize these types of victories. And we have one more in 2 weeks that we're going to try to, take home again.
So Arkansas comes through as the dominant team. That was not surprising. Dwight Stones, Dan O'Brien, the performance of the meet, Ateng Mu in the 800 A&M, I think all of it was surprising, even though we knew she's great.
Well, there's no question. They've been chasing going under 2 minutes for the better part of 20 years. They've gotten very, very close. And it was 2:69 before the race today by another A&M Aggie, Jasmine Frey. But you could tell by the time she got to the 400-meter mark when she was by herself and she went under 58 seconds that she was going to go for it. And it was a solo performance because that's what she's used to doing. She did it in high school, and now she's doing it in college. Now it's a matter of how long can Pat Henry keep her in College Station.
Dan?
I was going to say, since this indoor season started, look at what she's done. Fastest time in the country in the 400. Breaking all these records today in the 800 meters. She's pushed Texas A&M to a national record in the 4x4. You have to start looking at her and comparing her to some other New Jersey natives, but also some of the best 800-meter runners the U.S. has had, and that's Raven Rogers and Aja Wilson. You can't help but start making those comparisons now.
You guys said during her race that she had said her time is now. My goodness, what could be next? Thoughts?
Yeah, well, there's no question that she is going to be a force to be reckoned with. She's probably an Olympian this year, second fastest ever indoors. Wait until she does an outdoor season. That should be something to watch, and hopefully we'll get a chance to cover her.
Dwight, Dan, terrific work over the course of the last couple of days and over this show. That's 34 events and prelims. You guys had your hands full. That concludes our coverage of the SEC Indoor Track Championship. It's the best league in college track and field. The meet never disappoints. Arkansas, both sides add a trophy. They get to call the Hogs. The other 13 schools, of course, those athletes also shine, to be sure. For Dwight Stones and Dan O'Brien, I'm John Anderson. We say, hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks at the NCAA Championships right here in Fayetteville, Arkansas.